Did you know that the story of Tutankhamun's tomb goes beyond just a curse? Discover the surprising truth behind the legend that has captivated people for decades. In 1922, an archaeological breakthrough took place that would forever alter our understanding of ancient Egypt. Howard Carter, a British archaeologist, uncovered the tomb of the young Pharaoh Tutankhamun, and what he found inside was nothing short of astonishing. The tomb was mostly intact, filled with treasures and artifacts that provided a glimpse into the life and death of one of Egypt's most famous rulers. But as excitement spread, so did rumors of a curse that would haunt those who dared to disturb the resting place of the boy king. What really happened when the tomb was opened? The discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb wasn't just a significant archaeological find. It was a media sensation that drew worldwide attention. This moment marked a pivotal point in Egyptology and brought ancient Egypt into the modern world spot. It was a time when the fascination with all things Egyptian was at its peak, spurred on by the likes of films, books, and growing interest in archaeology. But with this fascination came fear. Many people began to believe that a curse was associated with the tomb's opening. This belief was fueled by sensationalized media reports and the dramatic narratives spun by those eager to capture public interest. But here's a strange fact. Despite the tales of doom and gloom, not everyone who entered the tomb faced misfortune. In fact, Howard Carter himself lived for many years after the discovery. This raises an important question. Why do some believe in the curse, while others dismiss it as mere folklore? As we dig deeper into this intriguing tale, it's essential to understand the broader context surrounding the discovery. The early 20th century was a time of great excitement in archaeology, and Egypt was seen as a treasure trove waiting to be explored. When Carter opened the tomb, the world was not just discovering artifacts, it was uncovering the very essence of an ancient civilization. Yet this magnificent find came with its own set of problems. The rush to uncover the tomb's secrets led to a media frenzy that sensationalized the story beyond recognition. In doing so, it blurred the lines between fact and fiction, leading many to question what was true about the events following the tomb's opening. Imagine standing before the entrance of a tomb that had lain undisturbed for over 3,000 years. The air is thick with anticipation, and the faint whispers of history beckon you to enter. But along with that excitement, there's an unsettling feeling in the pit of your stomach. What if you're disturbing something sacred? This fear became palpable as stories of the curse spread like wildfire. People speculated that disturbing the resting place of the pharaoh would bring about tragic consequences, and the idea of a curse was born. Let's not forget the key players in this drama. The death of Lord Carnarvon, who financed the expedition, sparked widespread media frenzy. His unexpected demise just weeks after the tomb's opening led many to believe that he had fallen victim to the curse. The tabloids had a field day, painting a vivid picture of doom that captivated the public's imagination. But here's a little-known fact. Carnarvon's death was due to an infected mosquito bite. Yes, a tiny mosquito. Something so insignificant had the power to end a life, yet the world focused on the mystical rather than the mundane. As you ponder this, consider how powerful narratives can shape our understanding of events. Many people accepted the curse as fact without questioning its origin. It wasn't just about the death of Carnarvon. It was about the fear of the unknown, the allure of ancient curses, and the tantalizing tales spun by those eager to sensationalize the story. This conflict between fact and fiction is a recurring theme in our exploration of the curse, and it sets the stage for the unfolding mystery. The truth is that many of the people involved in the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb lived long, healthy lives. Yet, the media narrative persisted, often omitting these facts in favor of a more thrilling storyline. The sensationalism had a profound impact, transforming a historical event into a mythical tale of horror that continues to capture our imagination even today. As we move forward, remember this: while some narratives may appear captivating, it's crucial to dig deeper, questioning what lies beneath the surface. What makes this story even more compelling is how the concept of a curse taps into our deepest fears and curiosities. As we navigate this tale, you'll see how it resonates with the human experience, a blend of excitement, fear, and the desire to uncover hidden truths. And just when you think you've grasped the full scope of the curse, remember, the reality may be even more surprising than the legends that have been told. So what will you uncover as we continue to explore the bizarre curse of Tutankhamun's tomb? The journey has just begun, and there are many more layers to peel back, from the sensational stories that gripped a generation to the real-life consequences of a tomb's discovery. This tale is far from over. Prepare to challenge your beliefs as we dive into the next section, where we will unravel the origins of the curse and how it has persisted through time. How did the idea of a curse start? I know it's hard. While the notion of curses in ancient Egypt was not new, Tutankhamun's case was different. The year was 1922, and the world was on the edge of its seat following Howard Carter's groundbreaking discovery of the young pharaoh's tomb. Treasures unearthed were beyond imagination, a time capsule of wealth and artistry that dazzled everyone from scholars to the general public. However, it wasn't long before the euphoria of this historical find took a dark turn. Just months after the tomb's opening, Lord Carnarvon, the financier of the excavation, died suddenly in Egypt. This unfortunate event sparked an avalanche of rumors and conspiracy theories. Many began to believe that a curse lay in wait for those who disturbed the pharaoh's final resting place. The idea took root in the collective imagination imagination. Here was a story ripe for sensationalism. The media sensationalized his death, portraying it as a direct result of the curse, creating a perfect storm of intrigue and fear. The peculiar part is that this belief in the curse gained traction despite the fact that Carnarvon's death was actually due to an infected mosquito bite, which led to blood poisoning. This is a strange twist, how a seemingly trivial incident could spark such monumental hysteria. Yet it highlights a fascinating reality about human nature. We often lean towards the mysterious and the sensational rather than accepting mundane explanations. This divergence from reality only fueled the curse narrative, leading many to view the tomb not as a treasure trove of history, but as a source of peril. Reports suggested that a curse was responsible for Carnarvon's sudden demise, leading to various conspiracy theories. The tabloids had a field day, embellishing the story with tales of doom and retribution. You may be surprised to learn that even other deaths linked to the tomb's discovery were exaggerated. For example, a number of people associated with the expedition also died under dubious circumstances. However, many of these deaths had logical explanations: old age, illness, or accidents. Yet the narrative that emerged was one of a powerful curse that demanded retribution for disturbing the dead. As the tales of the curse spread, they began to intertwine with historical narratives, creating a convoluted web of fact and fiction. The media painted a picture of ancient Egyptian mummies returning from the grave to exact vengeance on the tomb's trespassers. Most people think of this as mere folklore, but it has its roots in a long-standing human fascination with the unknown and the macabre. We find comfort in stories that explain the unexplainable, even if they stray far from the truth. The notion of a curse wasn't solely a product of the 20th century. It tapped into a much older belief system. Ancient Egyptians themselves believed in the power of curses and the protection of the dead. They often inscribed warnings on tombs, threatening dire consequences for anyone who dared to disturb the resting place of the deceased. So the modern idea of a curse tied to Tutankhamun's tomb isn't just a figment of imagination. It has historical roots, albeit twisted by the lens of sensationalism. Controversially, some historians argue that the curse narrative was intentionally perpetuated to promote tourism and interest in Egyptology. The more dramatic the story, the more it captivated the public's imagination. And what better way to attract visitors than to dangle the allure of danger? This perspective might make you shake your head in disbelief, but it underscores how narratives can be manipulated for various purposes. As we delve deeper into this tale, let's consider the broader implications. The fear of curses and the supernatural continues to resonate in our culture today. Just think about it. How often do we hear stories of haunted places or mysterious occurrences that are explained away as curses? The idea of a curse taps into our fears, and in many ways, it makes history more engaging. But this begs the question, does it help us understand the past or distort it? Let's look at how these stories evolved over time. The early 20th century was a period of tremendous fascination with ancient Egypt, fueled by the discovery of tombs and treasures. As these stories spread, they morphed into urban legends that captured the public's imagination. What began as a serious archaeological find turned into a thrilling narrative filled with suspense and intrigue. But here's a rare fact. Most of the people who entered Tutankhamun's tomb and examined its treasures did not suffer any ill fate. This fact often goes unnoticed in the shadow of the more sensational tales of doom. The stories of the curse provided a sense of drama and excitement that resonated with people. They were drawn into a narrative that combined history with a sense of danger, making the past feel alive. As these tales gained traction, they influenced how we think about ancient cultures and their beliefs. Today, many people still believe in curses, often attributing unexplained events to supernatural forces rather than rational explanations. In conclusion, the idea of a curse surrounding Tutankhamun's tomb serves as a striking example of how narratives can shape public perception. What started as a significant archaeological discovery morphed into a sensational story fueled by media hype and a deep-rooted human fascination with the intertwining of fact and fiction creates a tapestry of intrigue that continues to captivate audiences to this day. As we continue this exploration, remember that history is often more complex than the stories we tell, and the truth can sometimes be stranger than fiction. What scientific investigations have revealed? In the world of archaeology, the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922 was monumental, not just for its treasures but for the questions it raised about the validity of curses and supernatural phenomena. Scientists have delved deep into the tomb and its contents, uncovering layers of information that would challenge anyone's belief in the so-called curse. Many believe that curses are hidden in ancient artifacts, waiting to be unleashed upon those who disturb them. However, the reality is that extensive scientific studies conducted on the tomb and its treasures have found no evidence of toxic substances that could cause harm. For example, scientists examined the mummy of Tutankhamun itself and the artifacts within his tomb for harmful bacteria, fungi, or even poisonous materials that could have contributed to the deaths of those who entered. Surprisingly, they found none. This leads to a strange fact. Contrary to popular belief, many of the items in the tomb were meticulously preserved and maintained, indicating that they were not cursed, but rather a window into a thriving civilization. This finding raises an interesting point. Most people think that ancient curses must have some basis in truth, often visualizing grand tales of supernatural retribution. The reality is that many deaths attributed to the curse of Tutankhamun Tutankhamun can be explained by coincidence or natural causes, the scientific investigations paint a picture that contradicts the dramatic narratives that have circulated for decades. Instead of curses, what we find are stories of human mortality and the randomness of fate. Let's consider how scientific inquiry has shaped our understanding of these historical events. One notable investigation involved the use of modern technology, including X-rays and CT scans, to examine Tutankhamun's remains. These scans revealed insights into his health, lifestyle, and even the cause of his death, which was likely due to a combination of factors, including genetic disorders and infections. This scientific evidence points away from the supernatural and towards a more complex understanding of his life and untimely demise. Here's a thought-provoking point. Many believe that the so-called curse was simply a sensational story fabricated by the media. This perspective suggests that the curse served as a captivating narrative that overshadowed the genuine historical significance of Tutankhamun's tomb. The media, hungry for stories that sell, often exaggerated details to fit the narrative of danger and intrigue, ultimately distorting public perception. The deeper you dive into this topic, the more you realize that sensationalized stories can often cloud our understanding of historical realities. This brings us to a rare fact that many people overlook. Most archaeological finds do not lead to curses or hauntings. In fact, archaeology is more often about uncovering truths than it is about unearthing dark. Each excavation tells a story of the past, grounded in the tangible evidence left behind by those who came before us. However, the myth of the curse lingers, revealing something significant about our culture. It speaks to our fears and our fascination with the unknown. There's a certain thrill in believing that ancient relics could wield power over us, that they hold secrets that could threaten our lives. This belief system serves a purpose. It captures our imagination and drives curiosity about history, even if it means indulging in fiction. The scientific evidence available pushes us to confront uncomfortable truths about our beliefs. We must grapple with the idea that not everything that seems sinister is rooted in reality. The tomb of Tutankhamun, rather than being a source of supernatural retribution, stands as a testament to human history, rich with cultural significance and remarkable achievements. As we explore the scientific investigations surrounding Tutankhamun's tomb, we begin to understand the implications of what these findings mean for our broader understanding of history. The evidence suggests that the tomb, filled with artifacts and treasures, reflects the accomplishments of a great civilization rather than a haunting narrative of curses. In conclusion, the scientific investigations into the tomb of Tutankhamun have revealed much about the pharaoh's life, his society, and the myths that have surrounded his resting place. They challenge us to rethink what we accept as fact and to question the narratives that have been shaped over time. While the allure of curses may captivate us, the reality is often grounded in tangible evidence and history. As we move forward, remember that understanding the past is about uncovering the layers of truth that lie beneath the stories we tell. What role did archaeology play in shaping the curse narrative? The field of archaeology was in its infancy during the early 20th century, yet the discoveries made during this period would have lasting effects on how we perceive ancient cultures and the stories that surround them. When Howard Carter uncovered the tomb of Tutankhamun in 1922, it wasn't just a significant archaeological achievement, it was a pivotal moment that captured the imagination of the world. However, this sensational discovery came with a twist. The sensationalism of the curse narrative helped promote a burgeoning interest in Egyptology, often overshadowing the actual historical significance of the findings. Many artifacts retrieved from Tutankhamun's tomb were rushed to museums, often without proper context or understanding. Imagine unearthing a trove of treasures, golden masks, intricate jewelry, and ceremonial artifacts, and then quickly shoving them into display cases for public viewing. This haste led to misunderstandings about the artifact's original purpose and significance. People were left to fill in the gaps with their imaginations, which only fueled the narrative of the curse. The public was eager for stories, and the idea of a curse associated with the tomb offered the perfect blend of danger and intrigue. It became easier to believe in a mystical curse than to confront the complexities of ancient Egyptian beliefs and practices. Here's a strange fact that often goes unnoticed. During this time, many archaeologists and adventurers were driven by the thrill of discovery, but they were also caught in a race to be the first to unveil secrets of the past. This led to numerous archaeological oversights, as excitement overshadowed rigorous scientific methodologies. For instance, many ancient burial practices were misinterpreted, leading to the assumption that mummification and burial rites were solely about curses or spiritual protection. The reality is much more nuanced, reflecting deep cultural beliefs about life, death, and the afterlife. Most people think of archaeology as a straightforward path to uncovering history, but the truth is that the field has always been influenced by contemporary narratives and societal interests. The sensationalism surrounding the curse narrative became a case study in how public fascination can shape scientific inquiry. When researchers found themselves at the center of a media storm, the pressure to conform to popular stories sometimes overshadowed their commitment to academic rigor. This is a controversial point. Some argue that sensationalized accounts can be beneficial for raising awareness about important historical discoveries. Others contend that this can distort the public public's understanding of history. As the tales of curses grew, they often reflected the fears and anxieties of the time. The early 20th century was marked by rapid changes, scientific advancements, societal shifts, and the aftermath of World War I. The allure of ancient curses provided a comforting narrative that explained the unpredictability of life. People turned to these stories to make sense of a world that felt chaotic. It's fascinating to consider how the narratives we create often serve as mirrors reflecting our societal fears and hopes. A little-known fact that adds to this narrative is that the term mummy's curse became popularized, not only due to the discoveries in Egypt, but also through fictional stories and films. The combination of real archaeological finds and fictional portrayals in literature and cinema created a feedback loop where each informed the other. This cultural phenomenon intensified public interest in ancient Egypt and perpetuated myths, often leading to a distorted understanding of the culture. The implications of these narratives extend beyond mere storytelling. They influence how we approach archaeology and historical studies today. The emphasis on sensationalism can overshadow the importance of thorough research and critical analysis. As we learn from the past, we must also consider how the stories we tell shape our understanding of the present. The Curse of Tutankhamun has served as a cautionary tale about the power of narrative, how it can elevate simple facts into captivating stories that capture the public's imagination, for better or worse. In closing, archaeology played a crucial role in shaping the curse narrative surrounding Tutankhamun's tomb. It reflects how sensational stories can distort our understanding of ancient civilizations, turning complex cultural practices into simplistic narratives that cater to our desire for intrigue. The interplay between archaeological discovery and public perception continues to be a significant factor in how we understand and engage with history. As we navigate these stories, we must be vigilant, striving to separate fact from fiction and recognizing the impact that our narratives have on the perception of the past. How did Hollywood influence the curse legend? The intersection of archaeology and popular culture has always been a fascinating realm, and nowhere is this more evident than in the portrayal of ancient Egyptian curses in Hollywood films. When Howard Carter unearthed the tomb of Tutankhamun in 1922, the public's imagination was already primed for tales of the mystical and the macabre. Hollywood seized this opportunity, capitalizing on the existing myths and spinning them into thrilling cinematic narratives. Take a moment to think about how films like The Mummy have shaped our understanding of ancient Egypt. Most people think of these films as mere entertainment, but the reality is that they have influenced public perception of Egyptology in profound ways. These movies often portray curses as the consequence of disturbing ancient tombs, reinforcing the notion that ancient Egyptians were deeply concerned about protecting their dead from intruders. But here's a strange fact. The idea of a mummy's curse was largely a creation of modern storytelling rather than an accurate reflection of ancient beliefs. In fact, ancient Egyptians focused more on the afterlife and spiritual journeys than on curses designed to punish grave robbers. The sensationalism that Hollywood brings to the screen not only distorts historical facts for entertainment, but also plants seeds of fear and fascination in the audience's mind. Take, for instance, the way the Curse of Tutankhamun is depicted in films. These portrayals suggest that one could awaken vengeful spirits by merely stepping into a tomb or unwrapping a mummy. While thrilling, this narrative runs counter to the reality of ancient Egyptian practices, which were steeped in rituals designed to honor the dead, rather than to threaten those who might disturb them. This brings us to an important point. How do these films affect our understanding of history? As captivating as these cinematic depictions may be, they can lead to misconceptions about ancient civilizations and their belief. The general audience may walk away from a movie convinced that curses are a prevalent part of ancient Egyptian culture, which is far from the truth. This controversial portrayal can lead to a misunderstanding of the significance of mummification and burial rites, which were more about preparation for the afterlife than about instilling fear in the living. Furthermore, there is an underlying problem with the way Hollywood has shaped narratives around archaeology. The glamorization of treasure hunting and the thrill of unearthing ancient artifacts often gloss over the ethical considerations surrounding archaeological work. It suggests that the past is a mere treasure trove waiting to be plundered rather than a rich tapestry of history deserving respect and careful study. This perception can lead to a lack of understanding about the importance of preservation and the responsibilities of archaeologists to the cultures they study. Here's a rare fact that you might not know. The term mummy's curse became widely popularized only after the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb, fueled by media coverage and the subsequent stories spun by filmmakers. Before this, curses associated with mummies were rarely mentioned in ancient texts. The notion was largely a Western invention, catering to an audience that craved drama and danger, often at the expense of factual accuracy. As we delve deeper into this topic, consider how modern society continues to be fascinated by curses and the supernatural. The allure of ancient mysteries and the fear of the unknown tap into a primal instinct that drives us to explore and understand our world, even if it means accepting sensationalized versions of history. Films serve not just as entertainment, but as a lens through which we view the past, often leaving a lasting impression that shapes future explorations of ancient cultures. In conclusion, Hollywood's influence on the curse legend surrounding Tutankhamun's tomb exemplifies realize the powerful role that storytelling plays in shaping our understanding of history. While these films can ignite interest in ancient Egypt and inspire curiosity, they also perpetuate myths that can distort our perception of past civilizations. As we engage with these narratives, it's crucial to approach them with a critical eye, recognizing the difference between entertainment and historical reality. By doing so, we can appreciate the rich complexities of ancient cultures while navigating the often murky waters of myth and fact. What lessons can we learn from the curse narrative? The tale of the curse surrounding Tutankhamun's tomb is not just a story of superstition. It teaches us valuable lessons about the nature of storytelling and the importance of critical thinking. Most people think that curses and myths are harmless tales that only serve to entertain, but the reality is that these narratives can shape our beliefs and understanding of history in profound ways. At its core, the curse narrative illustrates the power of storytelling. When Howard Carter discovered the tomb in 1922, the treasures within it captured global attention, but so too did the sensationalized tales of doom that followed. The media jumped at the opportunity to weave narratives of curses, intrigue, and death. This leads us to a strange fact. The curse was not mentioned in Carter's own writings about the discovery. Instead, it was the media and public fascination that birthed this legend, transforming a historical event into a mythic tale of horror. Understanding the dynamics of storytelling is crucial. The curse narrative evolved over time, influenced by the cultural context of the 1920s, a period marked by fascination with the exotic and the unknown. Curses fed into the fears and anxieties of society, allowing people to process complex emotions about death, the afterlife, and the consequences of disturbing the past. This leads to a somewhat controversial point. While the curse story can be viewed as mere fiction, it also reflects real human fears that deserve attention and understanding. It shows how our imaginations can fill in the gaps of our knowledge, often leading to more sensational beliefs. This brings us to the importance of skepticism. As consumers of history, we must approach narratives, especially those fueled by sensationalism, with a critical eye. The allure of a good story can sometimes overshadow the facts, making it easy to accept all tales as truth. The Curse of Tutankhamun serves as a reminder that our understanding of history should be built on evidence, context, and critical analysis rather than sensational stories. This skepticism is essential not only for understanding ancient myths, but also for interpreting contemporary narratives in our own lives. Here's an intriguing point. The rise of the curse narrative significantly impacted the field of Egyptology. As interest surged, so did the funding for archaeological endeavors, leading to a greater focus on ancient Egypt in popular culture. This phenomenon illustrates how a single story can catalyze a wider appreciation for a field of study, even if the story itself is rooted in myth rather than fact. It poses a question: how often do we allow sensational narratives to drive interest in significant cultural and historical topics? As we dissect these lessons, we must also consider the context in which they arise. The curse narrative provides an excellent case study for examining how narratives can evolve and adapt over time. It's a reflection of societal fears and desires, illuminating the human tendency to grapple with the unknown through storytelling. This evolution of the curse from a historical footnote to a pop culture phenomenon highlights the interplay between fact and fiction in the human experience. A little-known fact that adds to this discussion is that many historical figures and events have been similarly mythologized over time. For instance, the legends surrounding Robin Hood and King Arthur have become infused with elements of fantasy and morality, diverging from the original narratives. This phenomenon demonstrates how stories can morph, influenced by the cultural and societal needs of different eras. It invites us to think about how contemporary events might be similarly mythologized in the future. In conclusion, the lessons learned from the curse narrative surrounding Tutankhamun's tomb are multifaceted. They urge us to recognize the power of storytelling, the importance of skepticism in evaluating historical claims, and the ways in which narratives can shape our understanding of the past. As we navigate the complexities of history, it's crucial to approach these stories with curiosity and an open mind, seeking to understand the deeper truths that lie beneath the surface. By doing so, we can engage with history more meaningfully, separating the fascinating myths from the rich, intricate realities of our shared human experience. Why does the curse still captivate our imagination? The allure of curses, particularly the one associated with Tutankhamun's tomb, reveals deep-seated human fears and fascinations. Most people think that curses are simply remnants of ancient superstitions, but the reality is that they tap into our primal instincts and curiosities about life, death, and the unknown. At the heart of the curse narrative is a fascinating interplay between history and mythology. When the tomb was discovered, it was a remarkable archaeological event. However, it quickly transformed into a tale steeped in mystery and danger. The very idea that ancient Egyptians could unleash wrath upon those who disturbed their resting place is both thrilling and terrifying. This leads us to a strange fact. Despite the vast advancements in our understanding of the ancient world, people still find themselves drawn to the idea of curses as if they were genuine threats. What makes curses particularly compelling is their ability to blend reality with the supernatural. They evoke a sense of fear that is hard to dismiss. Even today, many people are captivated by the tales of individuals who face dire consequences after disturbing ancient sites. It's a reminder of our mortality and the respect we must show for the past. The controversial point to consider is how this fascination can sometimes overshadow the actual historical significance of these discoveries. How the curse narrative can be entertaining, it risks trivializing the true cultural and historical context of ancient artifacts and civilizations. Moreover, the curse of Tutankhamun allows us to explore the darker side of human psychology. Many people derive a sense of thrill from fear, and curses deliver that in spades. They invite speculation and conspiracy theories, transforming historical figures and events into figures of lore. This mystery encourages a deeper inquiry into the stories behind the artifact. As a little-known fact, a significant portion of the tourism to Egypt is driven by the intrigue surrounding Tutankhamun's curse, showcasing how legend can directly impact real-world experiences and economies. As we dissect why curses captivate our imagination, it's crucial to recognize how they persist in modern culture. Films, books, and television shows continually resurrect the idea of curses, often exaggerating or altering the historical context for dramatic effect. Movies like The Mummy not only entertain but also perpetuate misconceptions about ancient cultures and their beliefs. This ongoing narrative reinforces the power of myth in shaping public perception. It poses the question, how much of what we understand about ancient Egyptians is influenced by sensationalized portrayals rather than factual history? These portrayals also reflect broader societal fears and fascinations. The allure of ancient curses often coincides with cultural moments of uncertainty or fear, serving as a coping mechanism for individuals grappling with their own anxiety. The blending of history and legend makes these tales even more alluring, providing a narrative structure that is easy to engage with. The fear of the unknown is a potent emotion, and curses encapsulate that perfectly, offering a narrative that is both thrilling and unsettling. In conclusion, the enduring fascination with curses, particularly the curse of Tutankhamun, reveals much about human nature. They remind us of our vulnerabilities, evoke our fears, and engage our imaginations in ways that historical facts alone may not. As we navigate the complexities of history, it's essential to approach these narratives with both curiosity and skepticism, allowing us to appreciate the layers of meaning that curses bring to our understanding of the past. The stories we tell about curses will likely evolve, but their core appeal, rooted in our fears, desires, and need for meaning, will persist, keeping the mystery alive for generations to come. How do myths evolve over time? Many people think that myths are static stories, but the reality is that they are dynamic narratives that change and adapt based on cultural perceptions and societal needs. Take the curse of Tutankhamun as an example. Initially, it was merely a cautionary tale, warning against the desecration of tombs and the disrespect of the dead. This evolution reveals much about human experience and how we interact with our history. A strange fact about myths is that they often gain traction during times of social upheaval or uncertainty. During the 1920s, when Howard Carter discovered the tomb, the world was recovering from World War I and grappling with the rapid changes of modernity. People were looking for something to grasp onto, and the idea of a curse provided an exhilarating, albeit terrifying narrative. It allowed them to explore their fears and fascinations about life after death, the unknown, and the consequences of our actions. This leads us to consider the controversial idea that some narratives may be more beneficial than others. For example, while the curse narrative has captured imaginations and sparked interest in Egyptology, it can overshadow the actual historical significance of Tutankhamun's reign and the rich culture of ancient Egypt. It raises the question, are we more interested in sensational stories than the truths they obscure? The reality is that understanding the context and origins of a myth can enrich our appreciation of history. One little-known fact is that the tale of Tutankhamun's curse has been cited as a reason why some artifacts were rushed to museums without thorough examination. This oversight often led to misunderstandings about ancient Egyptian culture, as artifacts were often displayed out of context or interpreted through a sensationalist lens. By understanding how myths evolve, we can better navigate the complexities of historical narratives. The evolution of myths also demonstrates how human experiences and societal shifts can shape narratives over time. The curse of Tutankhamun has evolved from a warning into a narrative that entertains, intrigues, and frightens us. It reflects our ongoing fascination with the past and our attempts to make sense of the world through stories. By tracing the life cycle of myths like this one, we gain insights into our collective psyche, societal values, and the nature of storytelling itself. As we consider how myths evolve, it's important to recognize that they often reflect the anxieties and aspirations of the times in which they are told. The tale of Tutankhamun's curse is no exception. From its origins rooted in ancient Egyptian beliefs about the afterlife to its transformation into a modern legend, the story has adapted to serve the needs of each generation. It allows us to grapple with our fears of mortality, the unknown, and the consequences of our actions. By understanding the evolution of myths, we not only gain insight into specific stories, but also learn how to approach historical narratives with a critical eye. This journey through the realm of myths encourages us to question the stories we hear and to seek the deeper truths that lie beneath the surface. In a world filled with information and competing narratives, recognizing the fluidity of myths can empower us to engage with history history more thoughtfully and meaningfully. In summary, the evolution of the curse of Tutankhamun illustrates how myths are not fixed, but rather living narratives that change with time. They adapt to reflect societal values, fears, and experiences, providing a lens through which we can understand our past and ourselves. Understanding this process allows us to navigate the complexities of history and encourages us to appreciate the richness of human storytelling. The curse narrative has much to teach us about our relationship with the past, the nature of belief, and the power of stories to shape our understanding of the world. What are other famous curses in history? Most people think that Tutankhamun's curse is unique, but the reality is that numerous cultures have their own stories of curses that have had a profound impact on their societies and histories. Take the curse of the pharaohs, for instance, which many believe extends beyond Tutankhamun. The idea suggests that anyone who disturbs the tombs of ancient Egyptian rulers will face dire consequences. This narrative has been echoed through various stories about other tombs and artifacts, where those who have tampered with them have faced misfortunes. Yet what's fascinating is how this idea transcends borders, with cultures around the world sharing similar beliefs in curses. A lesser-known fact is that the Hope Diamond, a stunning blue gem, is said to carry a curse that has plagued its owners for centuries. People who possess the diamond, including kings and commoners alike, reportedly faced disasters, death, and tragedy. This led to a widespread belief that the diamond was cursed, which only heightened its allure and mystique. The story of the Hope Diamond shows us how curses can attach themselves to objects, blending history with superstition. Controversially, some historians argue that these curse narratives can reflect societal fears and tensions rather than actual events. For example, the curse surrounding the Hope Diamond could symbolize the greed and obsession that wealth brings. Instead of a supernatural curse, the tragedies may be interpreted as the outcomes of personal choices and the consequences of one's actions. This raises an intriguing question. Do we find comfort in blaming curses for misfortunes rather than acknowledging the more mundane human causes behind them? Another curse that has gained notoriety is the Iguazu Falls curse, stemming from a legend about a local warrior's betrayal of his beloved. The story tells of a love triangle that ends tragically, and the subsequent curse that falls upon those who visit the falls. This narrative reflects the rich tapestry of local folklore, blending romance with supernatural consequences. It highlights how curses can also serve as moral lessons, warning against betrayal and dishonor. Interestingly, the concept of curses isn't limited to just historical artifacts or mythical tales. It extends to famous places as well. Take the cursed Titanic. Many believe that the ship was doomed from the start, with a series of ominous warnings and strange occurrences leading up to its fateful voyage. Stories abound of ill omens surrounding the ship, including the deaths of key figures connected to its construction. This narrative feeds into our fascination with tragic events, offering an explanation for a disaster that shocked the world. You might be surprised to learn that the infamous cursed painting of the Cry of the Soul, created by a 19th century artist, is said to bring misfortune to its owners. The original painting was lost in a fire, and subsequent owners have reportedly experienced tragic events, leading to rumors of a curse attached to the artwork. This shows how even modern creations can evoke the haunting nature of curses, echoing the historical fears that they embody. Curses can also intersect with politics and power. The curse of the pharaohs is often cited in connection with the fall of powerful leaders, suggesting that their hubris in disturbing sacred places led to their downfall. This idea reflects deeper cultural anxieties about power and the consequences of violating societal norms or ancient taboo. In addition to these examples, many cultures have their own specific curses, such as the mummy's curse, which many believe will befall those who disturb ancient Egyptian mummies. Each of these narratives showcases how curses can encapsulate cultural values, fears, and historical events, serving as reflections of the societies that created them. The evolution of these myths over time demonstrates how stories adapt to fit the needs and beliefs of different generations. The tales of curses may shift in detail, but often remain rooted in shared human experiences of fear, loss, and moral lessons. The fact that these stories continue to captivate our imaginations today highlights the enduring nature of folklore in understanding our world. Exploring these famous curses provides valuable insights into human psychology, our intuitive fears, our need to explain the unexplainable, and our desire to find patterns in the chaos of life. These narratives are not merely stories. They serve as vessels carrying lessons, cautioning us about the consequences of our actions, the fragility of life, and the mysterious forces that shape our fate. In summary, curses throughout history, whether tied to objects, events, or figures, reflect the fears and values of the cultures that believe in them. From the curse of the Hope Diamond to the legends surrounding ancient Egyptian tombs, these stories reveal our fascination with the unknown and the narratives we construct to make sense of our experiences. By examining these tales, we not only gain insight into the past, but also learn about ourselves, our beliefs, and the intricate web of human storytelling that connects us all. How can we separate fact from fiction in historical narratives? Most people think that history is just a straightforward account of events, but the reality is that it's often a complex web of interpretations, biases, and evolving narratives. At the heart of historical analysis is critical thinking. This means questioning the sources of information information and understanding their context. For example, when historians look at events such as the sinking of the Titanic, they don't just accept the popular narratives. They delve into testimonies, news articles, and even artifacts to build a more comprehensive picture. Did you know that the Titanic was not the first ship to be called unsinkable? The RMS Olympic, its sister ship, held a similar reputation before it too met with disaster. Such layers of history can reveal insights about human error and societal belief systems that extend far beyond the singular event. Now, one controversial point is the role of historians themselves. Many argue that historians can be just as biased as the politicians or figures they study. Their interpretations can be influenced by contemporary values and the prevailing attitudes of their time. For instance, narratives around events like colonization have changed dramatically over the decades. Early accounts might have glorified explorers, while modern historians often critique the consequences of their actions on indigenous populations. This evolution prompts us to ask, who writes history and whose perspectives are prioritized? A strange fact that many might not be aware of is that some historical documents have been altered over time. Take the infamous Catherine the Great letter that claimed she had an affair with a horse. This letter was a hoax, yet it became a part of popular culture, illustrating how easily misinformation can slip into the historical record. The public's fascination with sensationalized stories can overshadow more substantial historical truths, reminding us to tread carefully when exploring historical claims. When assessing facts, one method historians use is cross-referencing sources. This involves comparing various accounts and identifying discrepancies. For example, if 3 different books describe a battle, a historian will analyze what each author focuses on, their biases, and how these perspectives align or conflict with each other. This method not only clarifies facts but also enriches our understanding of how history is constructed. It's also crucial to understand the context of a story. Historical events do not exist in a vacuum. They are influenced by the social, political, and cultural dynamics of their time. For instance, the depiction of women in history has shifted from being seen primarily as passive figures to active agents of change. Consider the American suffrage movement. Early narratives often emphasized male perspectives, while modern retellings highlight the voices and contributions of women, such as Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton. This shift reflects a broader societal change in how we view gender roles. One of the significant challenges historians face is the availability of sources. Many events, especially those that occurred in ancient times, lack adequate documentation. This leads to gaps in our understanding and can result in the construction of narratives based on limited evidence. For example, much of what we know about ancient Egypt comes from tomb inscriptions, artifacts, and archaeological findings. Each new discovery has the potential to reshape our understanding of their civilization. The challenge lies in piecing together a coherent narrative from fragments of information. In the digital age, the rise of misinformation complicates the task of separating fact from fiction. With so many sources available online, from social media to personal blogs, the line between credible information and sensationalized accounts can blur. Historians and educators now face the challenge of teaching critical media literacy alongside traditional history education. Teaching individuals how to evaluate sources, check facts, and discern credible narratives is more important than ever. Moreover, the rise of conspiracy theories has sparked interest in how we accept or reject historical narratives. People often gravitate toward alternative explanations because they feel disenchanted with mainstream accounts. This phenomenon was evident during the COVID-19 pandemic, where various theories about the virus's origins and effects proliferated online. Consequences of such beliefs can be profound, leading to distrust in public health measures and historical institutions. As we navigate these complex waters, it's essential to foster a sense of curiosity and skepticism. Just because a story is popular or widely accepted doesn't mean it's accurate. The narrative surrounding the curse of the pharaohs, for instance, has captivated audiences for decades, but a closer examination reveals a mix of fact, myth, and sensationalism that complicates our understanding of ancient Egyptian practices. In conclusion, separating fact from fiction in historical narratives requires a combination of critical thinking, context understanding, and source evaluation. Stories we tell about our past shape our identities and inform our beliefs about the world today. By approaching history with a questioning mind, we can uncover deeper truths and appreciate the complexity of human experiences across time. Remember, history is not merely a record of events. It is an ongoing dialogue between the past and the present, reflecting our values, fears, and aspirations. People think sensationalism merely makes history more exciting, but the reality is that it can distort our understanding of events and their significance. Sensationalism, often driven by the media, plays a significant role in shaping public perception. Take, for example, the media coverage of the Titanic disaster. Instead of a nuanced analysis of the events leading to the tragedy, early reports often focused on the ship's unsinkable reputation, creating a narrative that emphasized drama over fact. This tendency to highlight sensational aspects can lead to oversimplifications that obscure the real causes behind historical events. A strange fact that illustrates this point is the infamous story of the mummy's curse. When Tutankhamun's tomb was discovered, reports flooded in about a mysterious curse that allegedly plagued those in involved in the excavation. What's surprising is that many of these stories were fabricated or exaggerated by newspapers seeking to capture readers' imaginations. The desire for a captivating narrative overshadowed the true findings of archaeology and science, creating a mythology that persists to this day. This situation raises a controversial question. Does the media's focus on sensationalism hinder our ability to learn from history? Many scholars argue that it does. When people become more enamored with sensational stories rather than factual analysis, they risk misunderstanding the complexities of historical events. For example, the romanticization of historical figures often overlooks their flaws and the broader societal implications of their actions. To navigate this landscape, historians utilize critical thinking skills and cross-referencing methods. They evaluate multiple sources to piece together a more accurate account of history. For instance, when examining the narratives around ancient Egyptian artifacts, historians will look at not just the artifacts themselves, but also the context in which they were found, including cultural practices and societal beliefs. This thorough approach helps prevent the oversimplification of complex historical realities. Understanding the context is also crucial in dispelling myths that sensationalism can propagate. Take the story of the Rosetta Stone. While it is often celebrated as a miraculous key to understanding Egyptian hieroglyphs, many do not realize that it was, in fact, a decree celebrating the reign of King Ptolemy V. This context enriches our understanding of the stone's significance beyond its role as a mere translation tool. In our digital age, the challenge of sensationalism has only intensified. The rise of social media has given voice to countless individuals and organizations, leading to a proliferation of information that often lacks rigorous verification. The COVID-19 pandemic is a prime example of how sensationalized narratives can shape public perception and influence behavior. Misinformation about the virus's origins and effects spread rapidly, leading to confusion and distrust in medical advice and institutions. Furthermore, the impact of sensationalism is not limited to historical events alone. It can shape public opinion about ongoing social issues. For instance, media portrayals of historical movements, such as the civil rights movement, can influence contemporary views on race and equality. Misleading representations can create a skewed understanding of the struggles and achievements of marginalized groups, hindering progress toward justice. Educating the public about the effects of sensationalism is essential in fostering a more informed society. Schools and educational institutions must emphasize media literacy alongside traditional history education. Teaching students how to critically evaluate sources and recognize sensationalist narratives can empower them to discern facts from fiction. Recognizing the signs of sensationalism is crucial for anyone interested in history. This means being aware of emotional language, one-sided stories, and exaggerated claims. For example, when faced with a headline proclaiming "The curse of the pharaohs strikes again," it's important to ask, what is the source of this claim? What evidence supports it? By approaching such narratives with skepticism, we can begin to sift through the noise and identify the historical truths that lie beneath. In conclusion, sensationalism has a profound impact on how we understand history. It shapes narratives, influences public perception, and often oversimplifies complex realities. By cultivating critical thinking skills and promoting media literacy, we can navigate the challenges posed by sensationalism and foster a deeper understanding of our past. History is not just a collection of sensational stories. It is a rich tapestry woven from countless voices, experiences, and truths that deserve to be examined with care and consideration. What insights can we gain from the story of Tutankhamun? Most people think the story begins and ends with a mere curse, but the reality is far richer and more complex. The tomb of Tutankhamun, discovered in 1922 by Howard Carter, has captivated the world not just because of the treasures it contained, but because of what it reveals about ancient Egyptian society and culture. The artifacts found in the tomb offer a window into the life of a young pharaoh who ascended to the throne at a very tender age and died prematurely, leaving behind a legacy that would become legendary. One intriguing aspect of the tomb is how it reflects the beliefs and practices of ancient Egyptians concerning death and the afterlife. For instance, among the numerous items found in the tomb were various offerings meant to accompany Tutankhamun in the afterlife. These included food, weapons, and even furniture. This leads us to a rare fact. Did you know that ancient Egyptians believed that the dead would require the same items in the afterlife as they had in life? This belief was so strong that many tombs were equipped as if they were the pharaoh's home away from home. While many believed the treasures of Tutankhamun were meant purely for ostentatious display, they also served a deeper spiritual purpose. The presence of magical artifacts, like the golden mask, was intended to protect the king in his journey to the afterlife. This notion of protection through material wealth presents a controversial viewpoint. Some argue that Tutankhamun's tomb was an early form of identity theft, where the treasures were designed to maintain the king's identity and power even after death, while others see it as a natural cultural practice of the time. Exploring the tomb provides profound insights into the politics of the period. Tutankhamun was a part of the 18th dynasty, a time marked by significant power struggles and shifts in religious beliefs, particularly the rise of the worship of the sun god Aten. This transition from polytheism to a more singular particular focus on Aten under Akhenaten, Tutankhamun's predecessor, is a major theme in understanding the historical context of Tutankhamun's reign. Yet the tomb also reveals the fragility of Tutankhamun's legacy. Many of the artifacts are now housed in museums around the world, sparking debates about ownership and the ethics of cultural heritage. The question arises, should these treasures remain in Western museums, or should they be returned to Egypt? This dilemma illustrates how the legacy of Tutankhamun continues to provoke discussions about identity and cultural preservation in a globalized world. Despite the treasure's historical and cultural significance, many people view them through the lens of the curse associated with the tomb. The so-called curse of the pharaohs has overshadowed much of the genuine scholarship surrounding Tutankhamun's life. The irony is striking. What should be celebrated as a remarkable archaeological achievement has often been sensationalized, obscuring the real stories that these artifacts tell about ancient Egyptian civilization. In addition, the narrative of a curse highlights how myths can flourish even when contrary evidence exists. The deaths of several individuals associated with the tomb have often been attributed to this supposed curse, yet many of these deaths can be explained by natural causes. For example, Lord Carnarvon, the financier of the excavation, died from an infected mosquito bite, a fact that has often been overlooked in favor of the more sensational curse narrative. This juxtaposition between myth and reality is crucial in understanding how our perceptions of history are shaped. The importance of the tomb of Tutankhamun extends beyond its treasures, and the curse associated with it serves as a reminder of our shared human experience, illustrating the timeless quest for understanding and the desire to connect with the past. Each artifact unearthed tells a story, one that transcends time and cultural barriers. In exploring the tomb, we not only learn about Tutankhamun and ancient Egypt, but also about ourselves, our beliefs, and our relentless curiosity. In conclusion, the story of Tutankhamun is not just about a cursed tomb filled with riches. It is about the rich tapestry of life, death, and legacy that informs our understanding of history. It challenges us to look beyond sensational narratives and to embrace the complexity of the past, ensuring that the lessons of history continue to resonate with us today. As we delve into the legacy of Tutankhamun, we uncover a world that, while ancient, speaks profoundly to our contemporary struggles with identity, belonging, and the meaning of life and death. What ongoing research is being conducted about the tomb? Most people think the treasures of Tutankhamun were all uncovered decades ago, but the reality is that exploration of his tomb is still very much alive today. Since the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922, it has remained a focal point for archaeologists and historians. The sheer richness of the artifacts found inside has kept interest in the tomb at an all-time high. Researchers today continue to investigate and analyze the tomb and its treasures using cutting-edge technologies. This ongoing research provides deeper insights into ancient Egyptian culture, funerary practices, and the life of the young pharaoh himself. One of the most exciting developments in recent years has been the use of non-invasive imaging techniques to explore the tomb's structure without disturbing the existing artifacts. Techniques such as ground-penetrating radar and 3D imaging have revealed new details about the tomb's layout and its potential hidden chambers. For instance, there were initial speculations that there might be undiscovered spaces behind the walls of the burial chamber, which could contain additional artifacts or even another burial site. This has led to a thrilling anticipation in the archaeological community, igniting debates and hypotheses about what might still lie beneath the surface. A strange yet captivating fact about Tutankhamun's tomb is that it was not originally intended for him. Historians believe it was initially built for someone else, potentially for a higher-ranking individual. When Tutankhamun came to power, he took the tomb as his own, making it a unique testament to the young king's unexpected rise and fall. This has sparked further inquiry into how the tomb's contents might reflect the shifts in political power and religious practices of that time. As archaeologists delve into these modern technologies, they've also focused on conservation efforts to protect the artifacts from deterioration. Climate control, humidity monitoring, and improved lighting techniques are part of the comprehensive strategies being implemented to ensure that the treasures of Tutankhamun remain preserved for future generations. However, this raises a controversial point. How far should researchers go in preserving artifacts versus allowing them to remain in their original state? Some argue that overzealous preservation can strip artifacts of their historical context and authenticity. The significance of this research extends beyond the tomb itself. Ongoing studies and discoveries contribute to our understanding of the social, political, and religious dynamics of ancient Egypt. For instance, research on the materials used in the tomb has shed light on the trade networks that existed during Tutankhamun's reign. Items such as the ornate golden mask were made from materials sourced from various regions, indicating a complex web of commerce and cultural exchange. You may find it surprising that there are still so many mysteries surrounding Tutankhamun. For instance, the precise cause of his death remains a subject of intense debate. Recent studies suggest that he may have suffered from multiple ailments, including a broken leg and malaria. These insights highlight how multidisciplinary approaches, incorporating medicine, history, and archaeology, can provide a clearer picture of the past. As researchers continue to explore Tutankhamun's tomb, they have made groundbreaking discoveries that challenge previous erroneous assumptions. For instance, the analysis of the tomb's paintings and inscriptions has revealed new interpretations of Egyptian mythology and how it influenced burial practices. Each new finding adds another layer to the rich narrative surrounding this ancient king. The ongoing research surrounding Tutankhamun's tomb is not just an academic endeavor. It captures the public's imagination and keeps the spirit of exploration alive. Exhibits featuring new findings often attract thousands of visitors eager to learn about the pharaoh and his treasures. This connection between modern audiences and ancient history demonstrates the enduring fascination with Tutankhamun, making his story as relevant today as it was during his reign. In conclusion, the exploration of Tutankhamun's tomb is far from over. With advancements in technology and ongoing scholarly interest, we continue to uncover the secrets of this iconic site. Each new discovery not only enriches our understanding of ancient Egyptian culture, but also invites us to reflect on the complexities of history. As we learn more about Tutankhamun, we also learn about ourselves and the universal themes that connect us across time and space. The legacy of Tutankhamun remains a powerful testament to the enduring quest for knowledge and understanding. How does the curse impact tourism in Egypt? Many people think the allure of ancient curses would deter visitors, but the reality is that the curse of Tutankhamun has drawn millions to Egypt, making it a fascinating case study in the intersection of history and modern tourism. The discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922 sparked an unprecedented interest in ancient Egypt. Tourists flocked to see the treasures and learn about the legendary pharaoh, transforming the region into a major archaeological and cultural destination. The curse narrative, despite its dubious origins, has contributed significantly to this phenomenon. It's a strange irony that the fear associated with the curse actually enhances the excitement of visiting the tomb and the artifacts housed in museums. One remarkable fact is that the curse itself has become part of the tourism narrative. Many tour guides incorporate tales of the curse into their presentations, creating an engaging experience that connects visitors to the lore of ancient Egypt. It adds a layer of intrigue to the already rich tapestry of history surrounding Tutankhamun. This storytelling aspect can evoke a sense of adventure, leading tourists to feel like they are part of an unfolding mystery rather than just passive observers of history. However, the impact of this tourism surge is not without its ethical dilemmas. The influx of visitors raises concerns about the preservation of these invaluable artifacts. Ancient items are susceptible to damage from exposure to light, humidity, and even the oils on human skin. This situation poses a significant problem. How do we balance the desire to share our cultural heritage with the need to protect it? Some argue that the financial benefits of tourism are vital for Egypt's economy, while others contend that the integrity of historical sites should take precedence. Interestingly, this debate about tourism and preservation is not unique to Egypt. Many historical sites around the world face similar challenges. For instance, sites like the Colosseum in Rome and Machu Picchu in Peru are also grappling with the impact of mass tourism. They illustrate a broader global concern. Can we effectively manage the delicate balance between accessibility and conservation? As tourism thrives, so do the local economies. In Luxor, a city near the Valley of the Kings where Tutankhamun's tomb is located, the economy heavily relies on the flow of tourists. Local businesses flourish with hotels, restaurants, and souvenir shops catering to visitors eager to immerse themselves in the ancient culture. This interaction between tourists and locals creates a vibrant cultural exchange, providing an opportunity for education and appreciation of Egypt's rich history. The COVID-19 pandemic demonstrated just how vulnerable the tourism industry can be. In 2020, Egypt's tourism revenue plummeted, which led to significant financial challenges for many who depended on it for their livelihoods. This reliance on tourism raises questions about sustainability. How can regions like Luxor diversify their economies to protect themselves against future downturns? The narrative of the curse also brings up a controversial point. The sensationalism surrounding ancient curses often overshadows the actual historical and archaeological significance of the discoveries. While it's engaging to share tales of curses, the true stories of the people, culture, and technology of ancient Egypt are equally compelling. How do we shift the focus from sensationalism to education? As tourism continues to grow, efforts to educate visitors on the true historical context of the artifacts are paramount. Museums and tour guides play a crucial role in ensuring that visitors walk away with a deeper understanding of Egypt's ancient civilization. Programs aimed at teaching tourists about the history, culture, and significance of the artifacts can enhance the experience and promote responsible tourism. It's essential to recognize that visitors today seek meaningful experiences rather than mere sightseeing. Tourists are increasingly interested in learning about the traditions, practices, and legacies of the cultures they visit. By prioritizing education and conservation, Egypt can foster a tourism model that respects its rich history while also supporting its economy. As we reflect on the impact of the curse of Tutankhamun on tourism, it's clear that this narrative has both positive and negative implications. The fascination with ancient curses adds an element of intrigue and excitement that draws visitors from around the globe. However, it also highlights the challenges of preserving a shared cultural heritage amid the demands of modern tourism. In summary, the curse of Tutankhamun has undeniably shaped the tourism landscape in Egypt, attracting millions and fostering fostering cultural exchange. As we navigate this complex relationship between tourism and preservation, we must recognize the responsibility that comes with sharing our history. By fostering education and respect for the past, we can ensure that the treasures of Tutankhamun and the broader ancient Egyptian culture continue to inspire awe for generations to come. Education can help clarify misconceptions about history. While many people assume that ancient civilizations relied solely on oral traditions, the truth is that writing played a crucial role in preserving their cultures. Have you ever considered that some ancient texts are as effective in shaping our understanding of history as modern educational methods? Ancient Egypt, for example, was home to an advanced writing system that included hieroglyphics, which recorded everything from religious texts to administrative records. These writings provide invaluable insights into daily life, beliefs, and governance in ancient societies. Yet, despite their significance, many people are unaware of the depth and complexity of these records. It's a strange fact that while we often marvel at the pyramids, the written word is what truly reveals the soul of a civilization. One controversial point is that despite the wealth of information preserved in ancient texts, many educational systems often prioritize dramatic narratives over factual accuracy. This approach can create a distorted view of history that emphasizes stories over the actual evidence. It begs the question, are we more fascinated by the drama of history than by its truth? To illustrate this point, consider the popular portrayal of Cleopatra. While she's often depicted as a seductress, the reality is far more complex. Cleopatra was a skilled diplomat and a ruler with significant political acumen. The stereotypes that surround her story can overshadow her actual contributions to history. Education that challenges these misconceptions allows us to see historical figures in a new light, prompting us to engage critically with the past. When we explore the role of education in shaping our understanding of history, we also need to examine how learning about ancient cultures fosters appreciation for their achievements. For example, studying the innovations of ancient Egyptians in fields like medicine, mathematics, and engineering not only enhances our knowledge but also connects us to their legacy. Did you know that many modern medical practices trace their origins back to ancient Egyptian techniques? This connection can inspire a greater respect for the intelligence and creativity of past civilizations. Accurate representations of history are crucial in challenging stereotypes and myths. In educational settings, it's essential to approach historical narratives with an emphasis on inclusivity and diversity. For instance, many ancient cultures had complex social structures and cultural practices that are often oversimplified. By exposing students to schools play a pivotal role in shaping historical narratives, incorporating interdisciplinary approaches, such as combining history with art, literature, and science, can enhance the learning experience. Imagine studying ancient Egyptian art alongside its historical context. This could lead to a deeper appreciation for both the culture and its artifacts. The stories we tell about the past should reflect the richness of human experience, not just a linear timeline of events. As we navigate the complexities of teaching history, we must also consider how to make it engaging for students. Interactive methods, such as role-playing historical figures or simulating archaeological digs, can ignite a passion for learning. Education is not merely about memorizing facts. It should inspire curiosity and critical thinking. By fostering a love for history, we empower future generations to explore and understand their heritage. One effective way to dispel myths is through the use of primary sources. When students examine original texts, artifacts, and archaeological findings, they gain first-hand insights into the past. This engagement with authentic materials encourages them to question narratives and seek the truth. Additionally, studying contrasting sources can reveal biases and limitations in historical accounts, prompting students to think critically about the information presented to them. Education also plays a crucial role in promoting historical preservation. By teaching students about the significance of ancient sites and artifacts, we cultivate a sense of responsibility towards protecting these treasures. Understanding the impact of tourism on historical preservation is vital. In countries like Egypt, where sites like the pyramids and temples attract millions of visitors, educating tourists about respectful engagement can help safeguard these cultural landmarks for future generations. As we reflect on the role of education in dispelling myths, it becomes clear that knowledge empowers individuals. An informed society is better equipped to question established narratives and seek a deeper understanding of history. Education is not just a tool for learning. It is a pathway to connection, empathy, and appreciation for the complexities of the human experience. Ultimately, the way we educate ourselves about history shapes our perceptions and influences how we engage with the world. By recognizing the value of accurate representations and diverse perspectives, we can foster a richer understanding of our shared past. As we learn from ancient civilizations, we also gain insights that can inform our present and future. The stories of those who came before us hold lessons that remain relevant today, reminding us of the power of knowledge and the importance of preserving our heritage. In conclusion, education is a powerful force in shaping our understanding of history. By embracing accuracy, inclusivity, and engagement, we can dispel myths and cultivate a deeper appreciation for the past. As we navigate the complexities of human history, let us remember that the narratives we construct construct today will shape the perceptions of future generations. Our commitment to education can ensure that the stories we tell are not just entertaining, but also truthful, inspiring, and enlightening. How do modern views of curses compare to ancient beliefs? Most people think curses are merely superstitions or relics of the past, dismissed by our scientific understanding today. But the reality is that many individuals still believe in curses, seeing them as a genuine influence on their lives, stemming from cultural and psychological roots. In fact, a surprising number of people have reported feeling the effects of what they perceive as curses, even in the modern age. The contrast between ancient and modern views of curses highlights a fascinating intersection of belief, fear, and societal norms. In cultures, curses were often invoked by powerful figures, believed to be a means of controlling fate or punishing wrongdoers. The famous Egyptian pharaohs, like Tutankhamun, were not just rulers. They were thought to wield divine power over life and death. When they died, especially in unusual circumstances, their tombs became shrouded in legends of curses that could afflict those who disturbed their rest. But how does this compare to our current attitudes? Today, many view curses through a lens of skepticism. Yet despite this rational approach, curses can evoke a primal fear of the unknown, of forces beyond our control. Psychological studies reveal that the belief in curses often correlates with feelings of helplessness in individuals' lives. In a world filled with chaos and unpredictability, the notion of a curse provides a narrative that can make sense of inexplicable misfortunes. It's almost comforting to think that there might be a reason behind bad luck, even if that reason is supernatural. Consider this: a 2015 survey found that nearly 30% of Americans believed in the possibility of curses. That's a substantial portion of the population still engaging with ideas that many would consider archaic. This contradiction speaks to a deeper human need for stories that explain our experiences. Curses, whether taken seriously or dismissed, serve as modern-day folklore, echoing the fears and beliefs of our ancestors. Interestingly, some modern curses reflect ancient ones, but are often adapted to fit contemporary narratives. For example, the so-called mummy's curse is a direct descendant of ancient Egyptian beliefs, but has been repackaged for films and popular culture, drawing in audiences with a mix of horror and fascination. This transformation raises an intriguing question: are these beliefs fading or evolving? As we explore further, we'll see that the power of curses, whether real or perceived, still holds a significant place in our society. The human experience of fear, regret, and the search for meaning persists across generations. In conclusion, while the ancient beliefs in curses might seem outdated, the modern interpretations reveal that they still resonate deeply within our cultural psyche. As we navigate our lives, grappling with the unpredictable nature of existence, the stories of curses remind us of our connection to history, folklore, and the human condition itself. Understanding these dynamics not only enriches our perspective on history, but also encourages us to reflect on our beliefs and the narratives we carry forward. Now, let's delve into the next section to uncover the role of education in dispelling myths surrounding curses. How do modern views of curses compare to ancient beliefs? Most people think of curses as mere folklore, remnants of superstition that have little place in our scientifically driven world. However, the reality is that many still believe in curses, seeing them as a real influence in their lives. This belief is often intertwined with psychological and cultural factors that connect us to the past. In ancient times, curses were powerful tools used by rulers, priests, and those in positions of authority. They served as a way to exert control, enforce social norms, or punish enemies. For instance, in ancient Egypt, the concept of a curse wasn't just a tale told by the fireside. It was a significant aspect of social and religious life. Pharaohs, including Tutankhamun, were believed to have divine powers, and curses could be invoked to protect their tombs from intruders. When these tombs were disturbed, it was thought that the pharaoh's spirit would exact revenge through curses. Fast forward to today, and many people approach the idea of curses with skepticism. Yet, a surprising number of individuals still report feeling affected by what they believe to be curses or bad omens. In fact, a survey revealed that nearly 30% of Americans believe in the existence of curses. This persistent belief suggests that curses have evolved from ancient fears into modern narratives that resonate deeply with our experiences. Here's an interesting twist. Despite the skepticism, the psychological impact of curses can be profound. When people face a streak of bad luck, they often seek explanations that lie beyond the tangible. It's easier to believe in a curse than to confront the randomness of life. This dynamic highlights a fascinating aspect of human psychology: our need for narrative, for stories that make sense of our experiences, especially in times of distress. One controversial viewpoint is that the prevalence of curses can actually empower certain individuals or groups. For example, in some cultures, curses can be seen as a way for the marginalized to assert power against those who oppress them. In these contexts, the belief in a curse is not just superstition. It becomes a means of coping with social injustice or personal misfortune. Additionally, modern media perpetuates the myth of the curse. Movies and television shows continue to portray curses as real threats, blending historical narratives with horror and fantasy. This perpetuation shapes public perception, leading many to maintain a belief in curses, even while they consciously dismiss them as fictions. A rare fact to consider is that some modern psychologists utilize the concept of curses in therapeutic settings, helping clients understand their beliefs and fears surrounding misfortune. This intersection of psychology and ancient beliefs underscores the adaptability of curses as a narrative device in our lives. As we explore further, we'll see how these modern interpretations of curses reflect broader cultural shifts and the ways in which we engage with our historical narratives. In summary, while the ancient belief in curses may seem like a relic of the past, modern attitudes reveal that these concepts are still relevant today. They tap into our fears, influence our decisions, and provide explanations for the inexplicable. This complex relationship with curses challenges us to examine our beliefs and how they shape our understanding of the world around us. Now, let's transition to the next section, where we'll delve into the role of education in dispelling myths surrounding curses and understanding their place in both history and society. If you enjoyed this epic journey, please subscribe to our channel for more thrilling historical tales. Don't miss out on new videos. Hit the notification bell to stay updated.